allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, this regular board meeting to order. Roll call shows everybody's present. We have no agenda changes that I know of. Next we have consent agenda. November 15th, 2018 village board meeting minutes. License with permits, operator license, John Berry, Luke Bayman, Anthony Round, and they have gone through the police.
Yes.
Presentation of accounts and other claims against the village.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Pre-registered citizens.
Done.
Go to the committee reports, library board.
I'm sure Allie will probably cover everything. We're interviewing for another person. We wrapped up the year looking good. The next meeting is the first full week of January.
Any questions or comments for Pat? Hearing none, we have no unfinished business. New business resolution R-15-18, adopting 2019 salaries and wages.
I have one comment.
Yep, sorry.
Under Public Works Court 2, that's supposed to be 1960, not 1959. My math is wrong.
And I also have a copy of the wage and benefit report if anybody wants to see that as well. Which one, Carl?
Public Works Court 2, it's on, under full-time position, third from the bottom.
This is all the This is not
Oh.
I'll make a motion to approve with Carl's adjustment. R-15-18.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Next we have resolution -20-18, resolution adopting 2019 water and sewer utility budgets.
I'll take that one as well. I think that's in your packet. Trying to find it. It's way down there. Sideways.
the last pages.
Just looking at overall a 2% increase on the water, and well, I'm showing a total of 20% increase in the water, but we're bringing money in and taking money out for the Pine Street project. Otherwise, it would be pretty flat. In my memo I handed out, you'll see that this is another conservative budget. It's based off of 2017 actual. The only difference being that, again, the 2019 Pine Street water project is being shown as revenue and revenue out. It's just an oddity thing. Otherwise, it really doesn't affect the overall rate. We're looking at cash purchase of 2 new lift pumps for lift station number 2. That's going to be a direct cash purchase, not a loan or a system improvement fund purchase. And we're also going to use cash to buy 2 new actuator valves for the SBR blowers. Again, that's just going to come out of the bank account, out of the budget. Utilities also participating in the purchase of a riding mower between the cemetery and the wastewater plant. Salt spreader between the utility and Public Works. The salt spreader is on the back of our 4-wheel pickup truck with a plow. We're going to buy a bunch of barricades. We need to refresh all of our barricades. And other safety-related street signage. The budget will continue to meet and exceed our debt coverage requirements by a considerable margin. We continue to fund our yearly projects using cash reserves, which is always nice. And I expect another year where we have a positive change in the utilities net position. Now, you're free to go through there line by line and look at it, but it's relatively benign, like it is every year. My goal is to come in about 5% net rate of return, along with meeting the Department of Administration's debt coverage requirements. I also, I think attached in here, I guess not, was there, hey Jane, was there our debt schedule shown in the packet?
That gave me a handout.
Oh, you got the debt schedule handout? Is there any questions on that? Because that may lead into something else later. If you'll look, the upper portion is principal and the bottom is interest. Our biggie, of course, is the 2010 revenue bond, which is the wastewater plant clean water fund. We're going to be stuck with that thing through 2030. The 2016 A bonds, which were a bunch of bonds put together to help pay off some other village projects and some water and sewer projects, those are due to expire in 2021. Of that entire bond, a portion of it belongs to the water department. So maybe in 2021, we might be able to look at reducing some of the water rates. So, yeah. And if you look at the column on the left where it says balance due, that's how much is owed on each one of those loans. So. And the interest. We still owe a considerable amount. We're about halfway with the wastewater plant. That was a big one. Hopefully you won't have to go through that again. Are there any questions regarding finances, overall health and utility?
I'll make a motion to approve our 2018.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Next, we have resolution -21-18, to limit property tax refunds based on the amount of overpayment. This is one we have every year.
Yes, it is.
Anything under $5 is only redone at request of the property owner.
I'll make a motion to approve our 2018.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Next we have MSA contract amendment, Grandview Road project.
I'll take that one as well.
Hey, just a second, back up. We do that every year. Why can't we just make that something that we don't have to approve every year? Is that, it just has to be a... Just say, we're trying to save a couple minutes on the next board. All right, no problem.
Okay, Carl.
Sorry. On the Grandview Road project, while doing the design, surveying, topo, and all that good stuff, we found out we're having issues with drainage. Given the terrain, the topography, we found that trying to work within the right-of-way is going to be next to impossible without having extremely deep ditches. So one of the solutions, but actually there's three solutions. One is to try to require right-of-way from people through there and maybe landscape 30 feet up into their properties, which I'm not for that. I don't think that would go over well. The other is to, what we came up with was to put in a little bit of a storm system on the south side of the road. And basically the third option is to cancel the project. We really don't, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place there. Maybe Al can speak a little bit on the necessity for it.
Yeah, once the survey data was picked up and we had crews go out there, we knew with the elevations we were playing with, what we discovered is there's a couple of small hills in the project, and about the central part of the project, the only way to get rid of that water is take it to the west end and then southerly across that open field there. To do that, like Carl mentioned, with an open ditch, it's going to require extending the right-of-way about 30 feet, taking some pretty good trees out there, and property owners left with an exorbitantly large, deep ditch in the front yard in certain segments, especially that west end of that project. And after meeting with Carl and having a discussion, didn't feel it was very practical or feasible what method to go about it, plus with the cost and the volumes of fill it would be coming out of there. What we did is took the approach, if we were to do what we consider a hybrid storm sewer, about half the project, to get it to the center part, we could pick up that water and carry it underground, So there's still no curb and gutter plan, there's open ditches, but the ditches are gonna be just a fraction of what they would be had we carried all that water across the surface. By piping some of it underground, actually under part of the ditch, we can get that water to the same location we need to get without putting those huge ditches in there. So that was the primary reason for the change order, is we need to have a storm sewer team come look at it, hydraulically size, get the data they need, see how much water they gotta take up to that southwest corner of the project, and then size the pipe, and then strategically put a couple of inlets along the route to pick up that surface water. So that was the big thing. The other thing is we ran into an issue where utilities are supposed to by law locate things within 10 business days. We had the survey crew go up there, pick up all the survey data, and bring it back and put it in the system, and quickly I discovered it didn't have a lot of the underground physical locations of the paint marks and the flags that should have been out there. I understand USIC's been doing that for a lot of utility companies, and there's inherent problems with the way they're handling things across the state of Wisconsin right now. So rather than leave those deficiencies on the plans, leave those out, risk, problems, complications, delays later. We met with Carl, decided it's best to send the survey crew back up. Carl made some direct contacts with those utility companies that made those locates, and we went up and picked up that data, so it is on the plans now. That was the other component to this change order.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's aware, but there's been issues with locates, not all over the state this year. Some people actually died down towards Sunbury, and we had the same issues here. Gas lines aren't marked, and I think it was due to the stagnant economy taking off so fast. They just couldn't keep up, and yeah, so shame on them for not hiring enough people, but we interviewed, and while they felt pity for me, they don't, there's nobody there that can assume responsibility for the lack of work. Just one of those things. Anyways, the project's still gonna come in about where we expect, about 600 grand for the whole thing.
Even with
Big-
this,
Huh?
even with the added cost of the underground pipe?
Yeah, I was thinking about 5.5 before we got to this, so it's a big project, but we did get the grant, and we're gonna do some assessments on property owners through there. And with the TID, it's gonna help out with 50% of it. It's a feasible project, hopefully it doesn't go up anymore, I don't think it will.
So what are we looking for right now?
We're looking to approve the contract amendment, which basically, we kind of already met and kind of pre-approved it, but we wanted to bring it back to the board, because we didn't want to delay the project.
So it's the $4,900 or $4,900?
Yeah, it's an amendment onto their existing contract, which was 32, give or take, thousand, which is still cheaper than the other engineers that we have brought on board, so.
Well, seeing that Al has already signed it, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'd like to ask one question of Carl. What's the cost differential between the underground pipe as opposed to the easement or land purchase and creating those big dishes? I mean, are ditches? Is it kind of a wash?
I think it would probably be a political nightmare to go in there, cut down all those trees, take their property.
Is it
How big
eminent
of a
domain,
pipe are we
right?
talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a size yet, but we're gonna most likely use HDP. The plastic pipes can be relatively inexpensive, no matter what size you go with, and
Is
relatively
it
easy to
15
put in.
inches, is it an 18 inches, is it a 12 inch?
Probably.
It's probably gonna be 18, 24, somewhere in that range.
What is that, a foot?
Oh, it's $25
$25 a foot?
Yeah.
I mean, by the time, to try to answer your question, Peter, I don't know the specifics of it, but to try to answer your question, digging it all out, reshaping all that, to me, that would feel like a wash, just because $25 a foot, I don't know how many feet is it, 100 feet?
Oh, this could be 1,000 feet of pipe.
1,000 feet, and it would be 1,000 feet of ditch?
But in lieu of the thousands of cubic yards of material we'd have to haul off the
That's what I'm
project
saying.
at $10 a yard,
Yeah.
plus the right of way and the
Right.
trees, yeah, you'd be paying for those items as well. I'd say it's
It's an ugly situation no matter what way you go.
You're
I
gonna
just
spend
think-
money one way or another, and you're avoiding another situation.
I don't want another-
I don't know that you'd be spending a lot more going the other way, but you might be spending more, but it's gonna be close. That's a lot, because you're taking on a lot to do there. It's gotta be reshaped, it's gotta be re-landscaped.
Yeah.
It could be Parker Heights all over again.
Well, that shouldn't be the deterrent.
I know.
but we also have to keep the citizens in mind, so. So,
When the costs are relatively the same, yeah, it's,
Yeah, without going out for bids and getting an accurate measurement of the street yards, we know it's gonna, it wouldn't be cheap anyway.
it might be a few $1,000s cheaper, but then for the PR part of it, a few $1,000s would be worth it.
Is that enough here?
That's good enough for me.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Resolution R-22-18 approving the write-off of unclaimed and outstanding checks from 2009 to 2013.
oh, $80.
I'll make a motion to approve R-22-18.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So what happened with the unclaimed and outstanding checks from 2014 through 2017?
We are working on trying to contact those people.
Okay. So this will come up again?
Yes.
I hope it's more than well.
Resolution approved.
Right?
Right.
Oh, most of them are tax refunds, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Discussion and action in regard to village hall hours of operation.
I'll take this one. In your packet, so what I did is I won a one-page hitter, something that, from what I read, was brought up in 2013 and then again in 2016. I talked to all of the people, including Public Works, all of the people in the office. We're at all in agreement that with how things are handled, we're at a crossroads because we really need 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. in the morning when we do a lot of our group meetings. But we also feel that it's relevant that we could stay till 4 o'clock and it would help out services to the public immensely. We're also, what I've noticed is that we're banking comp time, myself, Carl, Jane especially. We bank comp time often. We don't have a policy yet. That's something that we gotta note, that we gotta formulate a policy for comp time, whether it carries over or not. However, I think it would be more of a nightmare if we split time and try to have you start now and you start now. We need to keep a benefit, keep it all consistent in the office. So the payoff would be a short Friday. More people seem to be going that route. I put, why the change? Obviously, I'm going for customer service. Many times, I mean, almost daily, I'm there till 4 o'clock at least, or not longer. And I'll be honest, the phone rings a lot, and there's people at the door yet till 4 o'clock. It's just like we're missing that window. I think it's important that we stay at minimum until 4 p.m. The payoff would be, we'd ask for a reduced hours on Friday. Everybody in the office has agreed to do a 1 o'clock downtime on Friday. They work through the lunch hour, and it would just be consistent across the board for everybody, including Public Works. Carl pulled his guys in the department. Everybody's okay with the hours that I have proposed, which would be 7 to 4, Monday through Thursday, and then 7 to 1 on Fridays.
My question I have is the 7 to 1 within a lunch break. Is there's, only because when I work a 6-hour shift, I have to take a break because that's a law. Is there something that, I am just trying to think of, is there something that we need to make sure we double check legally? Only because I know when I work 6 hours, they make me take a break.
Yeah, you can still take a break.
No, it's like a legal thing. I have to take it.
I think state statute, I'll go ahead.
No, I'm not certain.
It's after, I think 6 hours, 6 is the magic number, and that's why I've just,
Well, from being with the union for 40 years, yes, there is a law in there, but I believe it only has to be a 15-minute break and...
34 hours.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You know, it's a paid one.
yeah, I mean, it could be a paid break, but I just know that that was,
The state requires us to take a half-hour lunch if you work 8 hours.
Yeah, that's it for
Right,
8.
so
what
for the 6, take the 16 minutes.
You'd still remain open through the noon hour?
That's
stay
exactly why
lunch.
the 1 o'clock is important.
Yeah.
We want to be able to do 7 a.m. to 1. It'd be full operations on Fridays, 7 to 1, full staff. So we wouldn't miss a beat on it. And I'll be real honest, Fridays are slow. Fridays are slow. It has curtailed, and I'll be honest also. After a night like tonight, when, especially if you get an extended, a lot of times we're ready to go by 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock on Friday. So not that we can't handle what we're assigned to do, but it's just, I think it would be a good move. I really do.
Somewhat related, I know that a lot of people ask me and complain actually that they can't pay their water bill online and they can't do things online. Is that something that we're looking to do?
Yes, in fact, I don't have it in my report because it hasn't happened yet, but we have a webinar set up with GovPayNet that would include, it's going to be a benefit because it would also take care of all citations. It would clean up her system, it would be utilities, parking, any citations, utilities, warrants,
So somebody that
tax
works
bills.
till 4 o'clock and they say, well, I can never get there on time. Well, now you could just do it online.
Christine would actually be set up with a terminal here to accept payment immediately. And we'd also have a slide card in the village hall where we can slide it with the fee attached. So it would be, anything you could pay at City Hall would be able to take via credit card or debit card. We're meeting with them in January.
What about voter registration time? Because now that they
Right.
limited it to
I would
2
still-
weeks, we voting and everything.
Well, there's certain deadlines that I would have to stay till.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be the only exception. Right. So,
Greenville went to these kind of hours. Actually, I think they,
as did Camden and Winter County, I spoke to Mitchell and Foster yesterday, from Winter County, they're also doing it through Friday.
So you're asking the money in this discussion and action, so you're looking for approval?
I would ask for approval tonight, please. That way we can properly advertise it, and the effective date would be on the 7th, I believe, of January. It's on your somewhere.
At the bottom.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I'll make a motion.
The only thing is I know Ally's commented they get a lot of people coming to the library after hours. Right, but this would help a little bit.
I think it would help a bit.
Okay.
So you're making the motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Discussion and possible revision of parking citations and price schedule.
I take this one. In your handout, you have a form like this. Basically, what we're doing is, we're running low on parking tickets, and it's a really poor copy, but our parking ticket is just a generic one. Nobody knows where we got them from. We don't know, we've had them for a while, because they have the address of 111, Nash Street, so. My understanding is Brian Barr said that they were very expensive, they were like $1 a parking ticket. So we looked at some different options, and while we were looking at the options, we looked at what other agencies are doing. And in Shiaton, we had like an envelope. It was actually very simple, but it was just a one-piece envelope. And it had just the basic information on the bottom, and you check the box, and you put it underneath the windshield. These here held up a lot better in the rain and everything else. So we were looking at finding a company that would do something equivalent to something like this. However, the officers said that they have to put the information here, and then they have to put the information there. So we found a company who actually, the tickets look like this, and they come in different colors. We like the orange because it stands out. But what happens is they write over the top, and it transfers right onto the envelope. So they only write it once instead of twice. These basically are 25 cents a piece, and they're weatherproof and everything else. The old citations were 3-part, these would only be a 2-part, and basically, with the old citations, we were losing the one carbon copy, and people had just blank envelopes on their cars, and they had no idea what they were. So while we were looking at doing this, we had to come up with, because on here, it actually has a box that you check, And so we thought this would be a good time to revisit the dollar amounts that we have on our parking tickets. So basically what we did is we reached out to a lot of different municipalities, all of them in Outagamie County with the exception of Freedom. It looked like Fox Valley Metro and Kaukauna are currently looking at recommending changes to their village boards. The two highlighted ones in the middle are the ones that we have of concern that we want to look at, and it's overnight parking. So Appleton's 25, Black Creek is $10. Fox Valley Metro, like I said, is looking to revamp it, is 10. Grand Chute's kind of different. Grand Chute puts a ticket on the car for $35. If they pay it within 10 days, the fine is actually $20. But if they pay it after 10 days, then the fine applies for $35. To me, that makes it confusing. Ours, the first offense are $10 and the second offense is $25. However, if Officer Sweeney issues ticket after ticket after ticket to the same vehicles, he knows that that's a second offense. However, if Sweeney issues one night and all of a sudden Stevens comes across the car a second night, he may not know that it's got a second offense. Okay, so we're looking to get rid of the first offense, second offense, just to make it easier to understand. Kaukauna is $10, but they're looking at revisiting. New London's at $15, but they have winter parking, $25. Seymour's 15, Shiacton's 20. So we're looking at changing ours to 20. Believe it or not, we do not have an ordinance for handicap parking in the village. There's nothing in the ordinance concerning handicap parking. So with the information that we put on here and then with the notification on the bottom, I think that'll suffice until we can get in there and we can revamp our ordinances. So we're looking at, I know that like Appleton and Grand Chute, they have the malls, lots of businesses and stuff like that, so that's why they go with the 300. New London's got 150, but they have a lot of businesses. It's probably the second or third largest. And then the rest of them are balancing at the 25, 150, 30, 50, so we're thinking 50. We have not to date wrote a handicap parking violation so far this year. We've issued 81 parking tickets, however, this year. And a lot of them are the same people over and over and over again. With our current ordinance, on the last column here, it says fine after due date increase. And ours is very wordy. Basically, it's telling people that in a 60-day period, if you've had more than 1 or 5 violations in 6 months, it goes on to say that we're gonna tow your vehicle, we're gonna impound it, and then we'll only release the vehicle if the towing is paid and a forfeiture of 50, and then we're gonna suspend. We're looking to get rid of all that. Most agencies, they say, it's gonna be this dollar amount after 10 days, we're gonna increase it by $10 or $20, and then after 30 days, we're gonna suspend your driver's license. And that's all done through the state of Wisconsin. All agencies suspend driver's license with the exception of Shiacton. We currently suspend driver's license, or not driver's license, but registrations at this time. Basically what we do is we have an account through the state. It costs, I believe, $5.50 or $8, something like that, to do it. So, but we have like $90 sitting in an account so that when we want to do that, we can do that. Once, that's how we collect our money for our parking tickets then. They have to pay that dollar amount goes to us then.
Question, is this just on public property or is this on private property as well? Like, I'm thinking of the schools, I think of the red zone where that's supposed to be kept open for emergency vehicles and it's always parked full.
Right, and I had spoke to Sergeant Barr concerning that, and when we designed this ticket with this company, we can add that on there.
Okay.
But again, when we do our ordinances, this is probably one of the first ones that we're gonna be looking at and revamping it, because it's a mess.
And I'll speak to that also. Ordinance codification did not make the 2019 budget, but it was definitely red flag for quotation this year for 2020. So just, Paul and I have a list already of things that we need to revise
Steve, what did you say, ordinance, what did you say?
Codification.
Oh, codification, I'm sorry, okay.
Community Code, America Code, essentially, it's no different than assessment services,
Okay.
where they get you on a program, they go through your book of ordinance codes,
Gotcha.
clean it up, and then they maintain it.
It'd be online then too.
It's online, you up and upload it.
Yeah,
Anytime there's a
yeah.
change, anytime there's a new change, we can submit it to them, they take care of it.
How big of a dollar bill is that?
12 to 15,000 for the initial hit, and it's a maintenance fee. I'll be honest, I did some ordinance codification prior to this job. It's not pleasant. It belongs in the hands of lawyers. So, Bob hasn't volunteered, he hasn't volunteered either, so.
That's, we've been kicking the can down the road for a long time. And This has been an issue for probably at least 15 years, 20 on some ordinances. And it's just, we've never, each year we discuss it and say, yeah, we gotta do that. When we budget, we get the money.
So we're looking for, Chris, you want a motion to approve this?
I'm looking for a motion to approve the $20 all the way across with the $50 for handicap parking,
I'll make that motion.
so that I can go ahead and order parking tickets and.
If we could just do this, we don't have to change ordinances or anything to do
Not
this?
for the expectations.
Can only get-
Our ordinance
second.
actually states that it's got anything, the ordinance says anything between 7.02 and 7.14 or something like that. Not any less than $5, not any greater than $50 for first offense. And then for second offense, it says not any less than $50 or 500, greater than 500. So we're covered in there for a dollar amount that we want to change. So it's not like we're changing the dollar amount outside of what the ordinance actually says.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I seconded it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks for looking into that.
Approved.
Good job.
Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to report from village officials. Administrator,
There's a handbook that I handed each of you. Sorry for its length, we haven't had a meeting in a month now, so. Bring it up to speed. First of all, Chris and I have a meeting with Bob Buckman of the Polar Bear Riders. He is also working on redoing the village maps. Some of the roadways were incorrect, speed mile per hour were incorrect, so if we are gonna have a snowmobile season, which doesn't real promising as of right now, he's working on revisions to their maps for the village. Secondly, also work with Habitat for Humanity. Excuse me, they forwarded an environmental readiness report that I filled out with help of Carl for the 227 East Main Street. It sounds like they're very advantageous and they will be possibly, more than likely is what he said, building a Habitat house this summer on that property. They want to rehab the garage structure and then move forward with a home. I believe there's a family that has put into that application. So
do
that
they need some kind of variance because seeing that garages doesn't fit our ordinances?
I don't think they're moving, if they don't touch the garage, it should be fine. The garage is there.
It says they're gonna refurbish the garage, that's why I was wondering.
I'm guessing they're gonna side it, re-roof it, make it more presentable.
That's nice to know. It's been
Physically moving.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna add to that, they're just gonna make it more friendly or appealing. Anything else with that one? Okay. I met with Bonnie and Monica from Allegheny County. We are aggressively working on a volunteer task force for Hortonville. That is something that, and I've included it in my goals, you'll see from the backside of my report, I included goals for the village board and as the president. With the help of the businesses, we're really trying to establish a network of volunteers for the village. So that's something that Bonnie and Monica and myself are working on. I also met with the fire department. We had a nice discussion, and this is a good update. Again, moving into 2019, myself being unfamiliar with their procedure, I was assured that everything would be up to par, starting with the auditing for 2018. I met with Jack and Dave and Matt, and we discussed protocol for 2019.
And they agreed in so many words that I would oversee what they report to me on a quarterly basis, and that they would also agree to update this board on a quarterly basis too. I think it's in good faith that we just accept what they said, and it was a good meeting. It was very factual for me, stuff that I didn't know and was presented to me. So how it ended was that we are going to allow them to continue on in their path, and that I'm going to hold them to their word that they're going to produce reporting for quarterly and then at the 6 month, as well as run reports, so we can move forward with better grant opportunities, which is we just need data, essentially what it comes down to. So that tool, I guess we'll leave it on the shelf. We'll see how it starts with the audit here.
How does that affect the Hortonia relationship?
Well, in so many words, Bob, Lidke, yeah, he told me, he said, we need to clean it up. So my first thought pattern was, okay, I'm gonna try to take the financials out of their hands and bring it back to Village Hall. So we got a little kickback on that, and I said, guys, I don't want to be the bad person here. All I'm saying is this is what needs to be done, okay? It's not that I'm calling you out, I'm blaming you. I've heard what some people said, I heard this, and it got a little heated, Kelly, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I just said, I'm not here to anger you guys, I want to work with you. We just need to get it clarified. We need to make this an easy process. So I'm asking you what you do. They went through their procedure, and I'm okay with their procedure. But I told them, this is what they need to see. And they guarantee that at the quarter and at the 6 month mark, they'll see it. And then I said, guys, if you don't, we're gonna have to make some changes, because this is what I'm gonna need to help you guys out down the road. You know, to make it easier for people to write vouchers, to report, to do the audits, and primarily the grant writing.
Right.
It's gonna become more, and here's the other thing I told you. We're about the only municipality in the area that doesn't charge for services. We're not looking to charge for fire calls, but we're looking for, potentially down the road, for jaws extractions, help with ambulance costs. I mean, with their increasing budget, we need data. We need run reports and data, so we can figure out in 2020 if we're gonna have the charge for services. So they agreed, so I'm just gonna hold them to the word that they're gonna be able to produce the results that we're asking for. And I'm gonna give them credit, and hopefully everything works out, so.
But that's,
What specifically does Bob feel needs cleaning up? I guess I don't understand.
He was, in his eye, the audit was never done. He doesn't like the budget they produced. He
He's
thinks
always
that,
done it right.
yeah, hearsay, you know what I'm saying? It could be done better. He doesn't like the information. He wants a more of a transparent document for budgeting purposes, wants to see more where the money is being spent. So,
Maybe I can ask this. So, like with Kerber Rose, every year when they give us their report, they always, and I don't remember, do you remember, they say in there that we did not audit the fire district. So are you saying that now when Kerber Rose does do that audit, now the fire district is included in
Yes.
that? Is it, okay.
Yes.
So maybe that's what,
yes. And I actually spoke to the representative from Kerber Rose.
okay.
And,
I'm sorry. What did they bring in every year during the audit? Because every year that I worked here, the fire department did bring in everything that the auditors asked for.
Exactly.
But
What I was told though, it was a last minute effort to bring in and produce
No.
documentations.
that's not true.
That's what I was told, Jeannie, and that's what I clarified with Matt and Dave and Jack.
They brought
So-
it in when they were asked to bring it in, always, when I worked here.
Correct. And I didn't know the procedure, so I took the
Yeah.
assumption from Bob, and that's why I had the meeting and I clarified it with those two gentlemen.
Yeah.
So what is Kerber Rose saying then when, because like when we get that thing from Kerber Rose, that phone thing?
The CAFR.
Yeah, so we hadn't, or we were doing that or we are not?
We've always done, Matt Palmer has always brought in
Correct.
a spreadsheet and bags of stuff.
What is she talking, like, when she's presented that to us, she said something, and something's ringing a bell.
Right, that was, I understood the exception.
Okay.
Well, end of the day, we're on the right
Yeah.
path to making this.
Correct. I just offered them suggestions to make it easier for reporting, essentially what I did. And then what I did is, having worked on the one in Sheboygan with the fire chief, I gave them probably the best procedure that they could follow for reporting, for runs, and I told them flat out, guys, I'm not looking for this. This is just the best of the best. If you can give me something of 25% of this quality, it's better than what we have now. And just gave them some guidelines that they could work with. And said, open the line of communication up. I'm here to help, I'm not here to be a burden. So, and I've met with them, I've seen Dave twice since then, and it hasn't been an issue, so.
And I think that's what they needed, was a
Absolutely.
guideline.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think they probably
Yeah, yeah,
appreciate it
yeah.
because they are volunteers, like you said.
And honestly, Jeannie, when I spoke to them about the checkbook, I thought I'd be doing them a favor by taking it out of their hands and bringing it to Village Hall, because I wanted them to concentrate on that run report and being firemen. So I thought I'd be doing them a favor. If they were a little resistant to it, I said, then fine, we're not gonna make a change, just this is what I asked you to do, this is how I want you to prepare it. And they were fine with it, so, and we told them, you know, so, it ended well, I mean, it ended on good terms, so. This is more for Al in the Blackout Lake District. As of Tuesday this week, the 62-page application for the weed harvester grant was filed. I'm not going to pat my own back, but she said she's never seen an application like that, so do it kudos to all the information that you helped me provide as well. So the determination date is April 9th of 2019, so at that point it'd be $35,000 in change if that grant is accepted. So we will soon find out how that goes. Wildwood Park update, and I've been working on this with Bob. I don't know if you want to chime in before me?
Sure, we can, let's do it that way.
Okay.
So, we're looking to formally discontinue or get rid of the park in Wildwood because all it is maintenance to us, and nobody's usually covered. And we've met with the neighbors up there before, and I think the administration board, we're thinking of ways of trying to get rid of it. So we're going to have a meeting at the beginning of January with, the letters were sent out by Dave to all of the Wildwood owners. And the ones that neighbor the park are being asked, telling them that it's important.
The way I phrased it in the letter is that I highly recommend your attendance that night, because we want to try to come up with a conclusion on how to divide the property.
Right. So, but to do a vacation of a platted park, we do have to get circuit court approval. So when we do this, it's going to mean involving everybody in Wildwood Park as far as putting them on notice. And assuming, there's no objection, I think we can get circuit court approval quite easily, or fairly easily. I don't think that's a major hurdle. Legally then, though, if we just did that with no planning, once the park is vacated, it will revert to the original owner. None of the adjoining property owners owned it, the developer did. So Marcy Breyer would be the owner of that, and ownership would revert to her. Now I've talked to the family, and I think we have an agreement. They understand what we want to do, and they're okay with it. So they're going to sign, I expect that they will be signing an agreement that if we go through this process, that at the end of the day, they'll quit claiming their interest to the village. Okay? So then the village will be in control, and Dave wants to meet with his neighbors and ask them, for their interest, and see go from there.
Correct. Carl and I discussed it. We're going to propose, and it hasn't come down to, because we don't know the price, but in lieu of the village paying for this, what we're proposing is there are 9 adjacent properties to the village park or to the Wildwood Park. So what we're proposing is not to exceed a $500 cost to these landowners, and that the village would pick up the remaining balance of any transactions. So it'd be a $4,500 coverage, and if it goes beyond that, which, I mean, in discussion, we think it's gonna be right around that area for legals and, you know, a new certified survey map. We don't know the value yet, but we want to kind of, we're not gonna make any promise to these landowners, but we want to see what their reaction is first and see how they act towards acquiring this land, being reassessed, and then taking it over. That way we can eliminate having to do the maintenance on it this summer already. So we're trying to get it done before the cutting season here. So when spring rolls around, we can properly draw out the boundary lines and let people know what their new maps are, essentially. So we can't give a financial update on this yet, but basically it's a technicality that I think we just need to rid ourselves of. Carl said it's a 3-acre parcel that they cut and maintain. You know, and in the cutting season, you might be there twice a week. So it's a valuable piece of land.
So I'm confused. They pay $500, but it's not, it becomes part of their property then?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Because
their benefit is.
Okay,
Yeah, they'd be getting land for absolutely nothing.
Okay.
All we're asking them to do is offset the cost of the engineering and the legal side of it in order to acquire this property. The only thing they would have to do at one time, we could actually, if they wanted to put it towards assessment, they could put it over a 3-year period, if they wanted to. You know, it's not going to be substantial. That's why we're saying the maximum to them would be a $500 exposure, if the board allows to do that. And then the village would pick up the remaining balance of the total bill of legal and engineering. So we don't know that number yet. That's just something that we kind of brainstormed on.
and a couple of those people will also be assessed to Grandview, right?
Yes.
Okay, just, I'd say that.
Yeah.
That's what I,
Yeah.
you know, I just
Yeah.
wanted to say
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, we don't know what the reaction is. But on the contrary, we could also say that this is a 3.1 acre lot that has about a $70,000 street value that could be developed, and you could have a neighbor in your backyard. And I don't think anybody wants to go there either. So,
You said about the circuit court, can this be gotten through circuit court quick enough that we don't have this any longer come summer?
Yes.
Because I know the court system's pretty backed up.
Well, the statute says, I haven't talked to the judges yet, but the statute says that it can be vacated upon application. So it's not like we have to start a normal lawsuit and jump through those hoops. There certainly would be a notice requirement of some kind to people that have property in the plat. So that's on my list of things to do. I have to verify the procedure, but it should be streamlined.
So when these parcels are divvied up, and we'll pick it up on the tax levy, do we pick it up at what they paid for it, or do we pick it up at a appraised value?
Well, that's going to be, that's not our call. really.
no, it would actually go to reassess, it'd be a reassessment of their property,
Right.
once it's recertified. So that would be,
So it could be reassessed at a higher value than what they actually
Correct.
paid for it.
correct.
So we'll pick that up on the tax levy.
Correct. However, we won't realize it because after January, so we wouldn't even realize that reassessed value to the 2020.
Right, that's okay.
But we will be saving costs of maintenance already, realizing it this summer.
Right.
So,
I'm just looking at the opportunities going forward for the increase. Okay. That's all I have.
any other discussion on that one? Okay, let's move to 3. Carl and I met with the Haywish family, who live adjacent, they're the adjacent property owners to east of Gilbert's grocery store. Essentially what we did in good faith, knowing that we have an interested party in the 2 lots to the east of the grocery store for development. We wanted to meet with the family to discuss future developments and essentially let them know that there is a party that wants to develop the two parcels. And we have to come into a conclusion or basically an agreement what can happen here. Because there's a major elevation, land elevation difference there. I don't know if you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, basically,
It was a good meeting, put it that way.
I think just hearing them out and advising them that if we do construct on the property as is, our property, because of that sand berm that's there from the old days, there was a quarry or something back there, sand pits. Anyways, there's a big sand berm running on the property line, so whoever develops the property next to Gilbert's would have to build up extremely, a lot higher than if we could somehow get that sand berm out of there. So it would actually benefit them to sell us the front portion, so we can get rid of that sand berm and have a nice big flat lot, which would keep any development at a lower grade. There was some concern from, was it the daughter, who lives to the east. Her view, if they built up high, currently on our lots, it would block their view of the sunsets and everything, but if they were to give us that chunk of land that the driveway's on, then we could probably build 12 to at least 12 feet lower, I would guess. So it would make a big difference on them. Wally and Maxine could drive in off of their town drive then. So it would benefit everybody, I believe. We're just trying to prime the pump, see how they feel about it. They're still thinking about it.
And we did have funds available for that if we wanted to rough it in this summer. It was, we had put allocated funds, I believe, into TID funds.
The TID's capable of either landscaping that lot as is or expanding the TID.
Correct.
It's all within the TID plan.
I'm not going to discuss the ice rink because it's a water rink right now, so it is ready to roll. We just need Mother Nature to cooperate.
Looks nice.
It does look nice. Carl and Public Works guys are working on a light for it, and we will have portable restrooms there after the first of the year as well. Closing on the Gilbert's grocery sign, the monument sign has been paid for. It's paid in full, so that was received. And there's a service agreement taken care of. So everything should be set with the Gilbert's grocery store. Update today on page 2 here. Carl and I have a meeting January 7th with Dabbler Engineering. So Mr. Kinnison is doing his part, and we are expecting to see him re-engaging his subdivision this summer as well. So that entails probably completing the 2 roads and the stormwater solution that he's working with the DNR. Anything you want to chime in on?
Not particularly.
Okay, so that's West Wind subdivision. We're also working with Brian Parker. He's on our radar too, so we are working on the 4 or 5 outlots adjacent to the Commonwealth project. So we're keeping his foot on the gas pedal too. That is TID land. So we are working in the best interests of all parties involved to keep him motivated to develop that. So not that it sits idle. Update on the 2-week open enrollment we had for health insurance. Mr. Nathan will be a village participant in our healthcare, as well as, how do you pronounce it, Katie?
Upkeep.
Upkeep, okay. She'll be applying, I believe. Katie's got more information on that. She's going to full-time right after the new year? Okay. I myself had 2 external meetings, Fox Cities Economic Development Professionals meeting, as well as a Sustainability Board meeting. I attended both of those last week, and FCEP was today at Fox Valley Tech. Continuing the webinars for the Connect community for the downtown developments, that was also this week. And then I have a note on here, I need to ask permission to attend a conference February 7th, and the reason I mention it is because it does affect our first February board meeting. So I would ask permission that I can register for that. Open enrollment started today on it. It's a TID financial workshop, which I think is going to be very beneficial to myself and the village, especially with the moving and shaking that we have going on with TIDs 2 and 3. That cost us $235. Diane also attended that workshop last year. So I'm just asking for permission so I can register on that. Okay. Any concerns or? Okay.
We need to make a...
I don't think we need to make a motion. I don't want to run the voucher. I just want to make it over to you. I will also have a report for you for that night, and any comments will be covered with Carl or James or with Chris or any of those other department heads. So, and then last but not least, we have an agenda set for January 3rd, but we have nothing on that agenda.
So, the meeting, just have a meeting.
Exactly. I don't think it's in our best interest to meet if we don't need to, so We're just gonna ask again permission to cancel it if we can, and we can post it, cancellation notice.
Just my own drink.
Okay, sounds good. Happy New Year, there you go. And then I have my, I didn't give everybody what I gave to the village board members and Al. I attached my personal and professional goals for the year, so if you want to do those.
But seeing that's in the ordinance, I think, yep.
Make a motion.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to cancel the January 3rd court.
Second. You can send it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Lots of seconds, Jamie.
Yeah, he was on it.
I'll be here by myself.
Be sure you start that, Jamie, with Peter opposing us. Thank you.
Any questions or comments today with
Thank you.
Moving on, clerk treasurer.
Nathan passed his Liberty exam, got his stamps, and he's all official there and approved. We're looking at getting another express vote machine for elections. That's the one where it's the marking machine. They're saying that we need to get it ordered because it's gonna be real hard to get that before the 2020 elections, because many communities are getting more of those. The cost is about $3,200. Includes everything, the programming, maintenance. So, the cemetery mapping is almost completed. Right? Do you have any more to say on that?
They're just inserting data now
Okay.
and updating it that way, so.
Okay. Nathan updated, on the website under departments, he put an election link with forms and licenses, more information, and it seems like there was some more things.
There's a clerk page that has all the information on it.
So that was, he's been busy. The preliminary audit went very well. That was done on the 11th, I believe. Took them a couple hours, they were fine with everything, no issues. And that's about all I have.
Any questions or comments for Jane? Hearing none, we'll move on to Director of Public Works.
I just have a few. We received another 2019 Urban Forestry Grant. It's not a lot, it's $1,250, but it's meant just to help us update our tree inventory and assessment.
Carl, can I ask, I'm sorry, didn't we just do that like a couple years ago?
Yeah, but now that well, ever since the tornado, we've gotten multiple grants from almost every party available. Now that we've got pretty much all the trees back in the parks and everything, what we're going to try and do is, I would say, GIS it, digitize it, and update it. A lot of the trees that were there aren't there anymore, and now we have all new trees, so it needs to be updated and modified. So a full-blown tree inventory is probably $5,000 if you were contracted out. But I'm actually thinking about doing it internally and buying an iPad with that instead and letting us do it ourselves. We do have GIS capability in-house, and we have a GIS website. It's still in development. It is open to the public, but a lot of the data is not available to the public yet.
So something like a summer intern or something to do with college?
Yeah, we're gonna bring one in this year in the utility and hopefully help out with that. Parker Heights water, sewer, and storm utilities were finished off today. We've done the back fees. So hopefully, if the back fees pass, we should bring that water line on, that loop on tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, that went pretty fast, weather cooperated. I don't think MCC is gonna get there in time to cut it and get the gravel in. They might yet, but we'll have to watch the weather. And I've got also in the handout, there's an update on well 2. Pretty much what we thought. There's a significant amount of flow coming from the bottom 50 feet, so it looks like we don't have to fill it in, thankfully. But the chemical composition of that water encourages the growth of biofilm, so Dr. Jock's recommendations are pretty much as written. He's suggesting that we need to mechanically and chemically clean the well, and he's looking at different alternatives to prevent these recurring issues. If you go on to page 2, you can see what we're looking at doing, heavy brushing of the case region and as a whole, baling and or pumping debris, chemical rehabilitation. The biggie there is, not biggie, but to help prevent this in the future is installing a 1/2 inch or 1 inch diameter pipe to the bottom of the well that will help scour it. So the operators, either Jeff or Ryan or even me, we go over there once a quarter, purge that air, try to bring that stuff up, flush it out. Another option, or what we'll probably do as well, is install a well recycle line. Again, that'll keep that fresh water coming up from behind the casing and all that good stuff. So knowing what we have, there's just going to be a different way to operate it. It shouldn't be, it'll become routine after a while. But, as he noted, we should have a significant drop in recording demand once we get that well up and running. It's looking like it's not going to get up and running until after the first of the year. The DNR is on board and approved a rehabilitation plan, so there'll be some follow-up sampling, quarterly agitation, sampling the biofilm. We'll probably do that quarterly. I wouldn't be surprised if the DNR mandates that, which is fine. Yearly shock chlorination. I'm not sure how that's going to partake, probably just inject it in with the air. So, yeah, well 2 is coming around. I'm glad at least we got to the bottom of it. And I just wanted to also give you an update on what's called the Upper Fox Wolf TMDL. I think besides Hortonville, New London's going through the same issue with the phosphorus discharge levels that'll be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. I think they pretty well got it figured out. It's not going to be pleasant. They're looking at reducing the phosphorus levels by 83% across the board. Our effluent limit is 1, I think similar to New London. I did the math, and right now they want to reduce us down to 0.7 pounds phosphorus per day, which is equivalent to a 0.16 milligram per liter discharge average. Right now we're at 1 milligram per liter. So that's a significant drop. And I don't know if you can tell by the tone of my writing that us municipalities are taking a big hit, but we're the smallest contributor to these rivers. And municipalities have to pay for the lion's share of everything. Or I should say the ratepayers. If you're on a well and a private septic tank, you're the one creating the problem, but we're paying for it. And really the only solutions the DNR is offering is for municipalities like us, our ratepayers, to pay what they call similar to carbon credits. We would spend money on private property or farms outside the community to fix some of those up, just so we don't have to, so we can put out a little dirtier water that's compared to what they want. Not a big fan of that. So, yeah, we're probably looking anywhere from, we have to clean our water up another 97%. And frankly, it's not going to mount to a hill of beans. Kind of disgusting. As you've seen below, you could...
Carl, when is what's the expected?
They'll give us 5 years to comply, so when our permit runs out, which it does in 2 or 3 years, then we'll have 5 years to comply with whatever they come up with. And again, the math is pointing to approximately a 0.16 milligram per liter average for a month, which is super clean. I'm not sure what New London, I think New London's in the same boat.
Municipalities whose permits run out sooner?
Well, everybody's different on a
Right.
cycle.
But if their permit...
If your permit just went out, you likely got 9, 10 years.
5 years.
Or if you just got a permit, you won't get another permit for 4.5 years. Let's say you got it 6 months ago. So you got 4.5 plus 5 to come in compliance. Again, it's going to be a negligible effect. It's almost unmeasurable. Even city, you can take the city of Oshkosh and Fond du Lac out of the equation, like they weren't even there, and it won't make a big difference. It's just crazy. But when we get to that point, this is the kind of unit we're probably going to have to go to. I'd rather buy it, keep it in-house. I'm not a big fan of spending money on somebody's farm 10 miles from here. I know that's what the DNR would like. again, they're trying to solve the issues by pushing it onto our ratepayers back. Not happy with that at all, but.
Is there any action at the county or state level regarding phosphorus?
Well, this is from feds, and the DNR, like I said, there's nothing at the state level where everybody has to participate in. They're basically kicking it back to the municipalities that have a general permit like us.
But I mean regulating the phosphorus used in,
Farm fields,
yeah,
septic
because
tanks,
some states are.
we're an easy target. They're not after them. They are after them, but they're after us. They're after municipalities that are already putting out clean water.
They could easily regulate you.
Yeah. You look at all the homes around Lake Boyan, they put out literally 7,000% more phosphorus than we do. Are they going after them? No, they're coming after us. So, again, it's not the best way to do it. If they're going to mandate that at the federal level through the EPA, then I think everybody should cost share. Again, that's the kind of unit, I have no idea how much it costs, probably $1 million. We may be able to swing it in-house with our current rate structure. I hope we can, or I hope you guys can by that time. But it's not very good. I don't agree with the way they're doing it. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Carl? And now we'll move on to the police department.
We've had a very busy month. We currently have the DOT Department of Transportation campaign going on, Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over. That started on the 14th and it'll run through January 1st. They normally run them through the holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Weekend, Labor Day weekend, and Christmas weekend. We had a severe server issue. Not our main server, but we had Trax, which is our electronic citations, was on a separate server, and needless to say, it wasn't being backed up at all. And one day, all of a sudden, we weren't able to write citations, and we ended up calling corporate network in, and 12 days later, we were able to get it up and recover all the citations. And so we ended up buying a separate drive and putting it on our main server. And then last week, we just purchased a Barracuda, which is a backup server, so now everything is being backed up. So next time we have this problem and a server decides to fail on us, we at least will be prepared and we can retrieve in a timely manner instead of 12 days, versus a couple hours or a half a day. We got the heat fixed in our police department. A lot of people were saying that if they drove past our building, you could see that there was, snow on the side of the building, and there was snow on this side of the building. So we ended up having Huffman come in, and they looked at it, figured out the problems. They put some dumps so that the excess heat would dump out into the garage. But what was happening was we were finding out that my office, which controls the break room in here, my office, and the training room, for whatever reason, it wasn't shutting off, so it kept running and running and running to the point where it would kick off the machine because it got too hot. We were coming in, it was like 84 degrees in there, and then in the summer we were having problems because it was so hot, so it's nice because we have our thermostat set at 70 and it's 70 or 72, 74 in there. So that is just huge for us. And it's also going to save the village, I think, a lot of extra heat costs that we were forking out. So we fixed some of the doors. Rob's been very, very busy in that building, working with us. We have an in-custody bathroom. The toilet hasn't flushed forever. We're trying to figure that out. We think it might be something as easy as a $140 part, so we've been working on that. We got 6 of the new computers installed, so those are all up and running, and we can work much faster and more efficiently. My computer doesn't shut down in the middle of the working on a project, they would shut down like a couple times a day, so I'm happy about that. Our last squad was picked up today to be updated, so all 4 squads are all updated. The rifles have all been updated, the ammo's been purchased, so we are running really good here. We're also working on doing a shared drive with the courts. When a student comes to court and the judge decides to give them a deferred prosecution, you don't do anything for 6 months or a year if you're not truant for the rest of the school year, or if you haven't committed any other violations or crimes. We don't have that conversation going on between the 2 of us. So we're looking at creating a shared drive so that we can see that the judge put them on a deferred prosecution. And that way then, if we do come across somebody who is on a deferred, then at least we can advise the courts that something's going on. Kind of like when somebody is out on the streets and they commit a crime, they get put on bail jumping. And then if they commit a crime, they go back to jail for bail jumping. So it's a little bit nicer for us to be able to communicate with each other. That's it, I think.
Any questions or comments for Chris? Hearing none, we'll move on to library director.
We are in the final stages of hiring our part-time employee, which will bring us up to full staff. We're starting to plan our 2019 programming for summer as well as throughout the year. And we've got some pretty awesome prospects. One of them being partnering with Appleton, Black Creek, Kimberly Littleshoot to bring in Roy Thomas. He's Stan Lee's predecessor. Bringing him into the Fox Valley to do some kind of program that he actually knows somebody at Powerhouse Comics in Appleton. He's the creator of Ghost Rider, Iron Fist, and Ms. Marvel, so he's kind of a big name in the comic book industry. So having him come into the Valley would be amazing. The theme for our summer program was announced. It's space, and the motto is a universe of stories. So we're looking at storytelling, outer space, astronomy, stuff like that. Yeah, we've got some pretty awesome programming prospects set for 2019 coming up.
Any questions or comments for Ally? Hearing none, we'll move on to attorney.
I have nothing.
Building permit report is in the packet. Are there any comments or questions on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to communication and miscellaneous business. Blackwater Lake District news, there is nothing new tonight. Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District. Oak Cross Ambulance report, our report is in the packet. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Hortonville Civic.
Nope.
Senior activities.
We had our holiday meal at the meal site, 35 people, and it was well attended. People seemed to enjoy it. David and Carl came as well, and we're still trying to build the numbers up down there. And if you and I could maybe stay in conversation when you're talking with Bonnie and Monica, just so we can keep the committee going, because the library's involved in our committee and plus a number of agencies. So, and hopefully we can have some programs at the Opera House, so people do the program, then stay and eat, or eat and then do a program. So those things are in the works. Next meeting is January 16th. That's all.
Any questions or comments for Pat? Hearing none, we'll move on to comments and suggestions from citizens. Hearing none, then we need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19851C.
Second that?
Roll.
Aye.
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 Aye.